Imagine buying your dream home, a slice of paradise nestled beside a sprawling green field. You picture your kids playing there. Maybe you'll have picnics, or just enjoy the peaceful, open view from your window. This was the reality for the residents of the Opan Valley estate in Sydney, Australia. They paid a premium for these beautiful homes, believing that the green space next to them was permanent, a protected nature corridor. Little did they know, they were living on borrowed time, and the very entity meant to protect their community's interests. The Homeowners Association, or HOA, was about to pull the rug out from under them in a shocking tale of deception and broken promises. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a story that exposes the dark side of property development and the immense power wielded by HOA. It's a classic case of what you see isn't always what you get, and it serves as a stark warning for homeowners everywhere. So, let's set the scene. Opan Valley, on the outskirts of Sydney. It's marketed as an idyllic community, blending modern living with the tranquility of nature. A key selling point for many of the homes was their proximity to a large, undeveloped plot of land. Real estate agents and marketing brochures painted a beautiful picture. This land was part of a biobanking site, a conservation area teeming with native wildlife, including koalas. It was meant to be a permanent green buffer, ensuring residents would always have that beautiful natural vista. People paid hundreds of thousands of dollars extra for these premium lots, convinced they were investing not just in a house, but in a lifestyle. They were told the land was protected, that it couldn't be developed. It sounded perfect, right? Too perfect. As it turns out, the dream began to unravel when residents started noticing something strange. Surveyors appeared on the field. Then, markers were staked into the ground. A sense of unease rippled through the community. They had been assured, repeatedly, that this land was off limits to development. So, what was going on? The residents started asking questions, and the answers they received, or rather the lack of clear answers, were deeply unsettling. Their first stop was the developer, Walker Corporation, and the local council. Initially, they were met with confusion and deflection, but the truth eventually came out, and it was a bombshell. The beautiful green field they treasured was not a permanent nature reserve. In fact, it had been sold. And the buyer, a major property developer with plans to build hundreds of new homes right on their doorstep. The open vista was about to be replaced by a sea of rooftops. But how could this happen? They were promised protection. This is where the story takes a sinister turn and our main character, the HOA, steps into the spotlight. In many new developments, an HOA, also known as a community association or owner's corporation, is established by the initial developer. Its purpose is to manage the common areas and enforce the rules of the community. In the case of Opan Valley, the HOA, under the control of the developer, was the legal owner of that common land, the very field in question. Here's the critical piece of the puzzle. For a period of time after a new development is built, the developer often retains majority control of the HOA's executive committee. They can make decisions with little to no input from the actual homeowners. And that's precisely what happened here. While residents were enjoying their protected views, the developer-controlled HOA made a decision behind closed doors. They voted to sell the land. The very land that was used as a primary marketing tool to sell them their expensive homes in the first place. Can you imagine the sense of betrayal? The people who bought into this community feel completely duped. They paid a premium for a promise that was broken by the very organization supposed to be acting in their best interest. One resident, interviewed by the local news, summed it up perfectly. He sighed. It felt sick to his stomach. He'd spent his life savings on what he thought was his forever home, only to have the dream shattered. He and his neighbors were now facing the prospect of years of construction noise, dust, and traffic, followed by the permanent loss of their views and the devaluation of their properties. The developers, of course, have their side of the story. A spokesperson for Walker Corporation stated that the land was always zoned for residential development and that its future use was outlined in the master plan. They claimed that the sale was conducted legally and followed all required processes. Legally, they might be on solid ground. The fine print in the thick stack of documents you sign when buying a house likely contained clauses that allowed for this. But legally right and morally right are two very different things. The residents argue they were misled by the marketing, the brochures, the sales pitches from real estate agents. They all emphasized the permanent nature of the green space. They were sold a vision, not just a property. This is a classic bait. Lure buyers in with the promise of a premium feature, and then take it away once the sales are locked in. The term biobanking site was used, which implies conservation and protection. But it seems this was just clever marketing jargon, not a legally binding guarantee. This situation highlights a massive loophole in consumer protection laws for property buyers. How can a developer market a property based on a key feature, and then have the power, through their control of the HOA, to remove that feature? It's a conflict of interest on a grand scale. The developer is essentially playing on both sides of the fence. They are the seller, making promises to the buyer, but they are also the manager of the community's assets, with the power to break those promises for their own financial gain. The homeowners in Opan Valley are not taking this lying down. They've organized, forming a residents' action group. They're speaking to the media, lobbying local politicians, and exploring their legal options. They are fighting back against what they see as a gross injustice. Their battle is not just for their own homes. It's a fight for transparency and fairness for all future home buyers. They are trying to raise awareness so that others don't fall into the same trap. Their story has resonated with many. It's a cautionary tale that has gone viral, shared across social media and discussed in homeowner forums around the world. Why? Because this isn't an isolated incident. Similar stories have emerged from communities all over. An HOA that was supposed to maintain a community pool sells it to a private club. A common park area, promised as a playground for children, is rezoned and sold for commercial development. The pattern is often the same. A developer makes a promise, retains control of the HOA long enough to break that promise for profit, and leaves the residents to deal with the consequences. So, what can we learn from the Opan Valley saga? If you're considering buying a home in a new development with an HOA, you need to become a detective. Don't just take the marketing materials or the real estate agent's word for it. You need to dig into the documents. First, find out who controls the HOA. If it's still the developer, you need to be extra cautious. Understand the timeline for when control will be handed over to the residents. Second, scrutinize the master plan and zoning for all surrounding land, especially any common areas or open spaces. Look for the legal designation of that land. Is it truly protected parkland, or is it simply undeveloped land that the developer has the right to sell later? Get this in writing. Ask direct questions and demand clear, unambiguous answers. If something feels off, or if you're getting vague responses, that's a huge red flag. It's also crucial to understand the powers of the HOA. Read the covenants, conditions, and restrictions to CC&R. These documents are the constitution of your community. They outline what the HOA can and cannot do. Can they sell common assets? Under what conditions? Knowing this information up front can save you a world of heartbreak later. Consider getting a lawyer who specializes in real estate and HOA law to review all the documents before you sign anything. It might seem like an extra expense, but compared to the potential financial and emotional cost of a situation like the one in Opan Valley, it's a small price to pay. The fight for the residents of Opan Valley is far from over. They face an uphill battle against powerful corporate interests with deep pockets, but their courage in speaking out is incredibly important. They have shown a light on a practice that has likely been happening in the shadows for years. They are forcing a much-needed conversation about ethics, transparency, and consumer rights in the real estate industry. Their story is a powerful reminder that community is about more than just houses. It's about trust, shared values, and the promises we make to one another. When that trust is broken, especially by an entity designed to protect it, the foundations of the entire community are shaken. We will be following this story closely, and will bring you any updates as they happen. Let us know in the comments below if you've ever had a similar experience with an HOA or a property developer. Your stories are important and help to shed more light on these issues. What do you think should be done to protect homebuyers from this kind of deceptive practice? Should there be stricter laws governing developer-controlled HOAs? Thanks for tuning in today. If you found this video informative and important, Please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone you know who might be looking to buy a home. And do you want to forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do want to miss our future investigations. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and we'll see you in the next video.